Hello and welcome to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. In this segment, James and I talk about how even when you're doing work you really love, you're going to have days or weeks when you want to quit. What can you do? Hope you enjoy.
Hey, Pat.
Yes, James.
So, all right. So I had a week.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm not going to go deep into the details, deep into the weeds, but we had, a dog issue that required a lot of care, a dad issue that required a lot of care. And then I came back and I had this meeting with a prospective client, and man, did I fuck it up.
Not just one person, the publisher.
Yeah. The publisher, the person managing the book, the two authors. It was utter shit show.
Sorry.
Complete and utter shit show, right?
Yeah.
Because I was completely underprepared because I had just too much going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I got a couple rejections. And, it's just like this moment of, fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Oh my
Right?
God, I hear you.
Like, yeah, this just, and I just had this thought of maybe I can go do something else. I could say, this is a pain in my ass. It's difficult. People say no all the time. I could go, there's got to be easier ways to earn money and live a life.
Right? And just to clarify for listeners, by this, you mean both your creative writing and your day job as a ghostwriter.
Right. Go work for an insurance firm.
Yeah.
Or a landscaper. Depends on the inside or outside.
Yeah, right. And training?
What, training to be an insurance person?
No, like, do you have training? I'm just saying, are we going completely into imaginary land where you could have any job you want? Or are these options?
No, I was thinking, where do you go? Right? I mean, it's like, okay, whatever big, huge industry is out there hiring, going to get paid vacations, health insurance, maybe, maybe the same income, maybe probably a little less, I would think.
Yeah.
But boy, wouldn't life be easier?
It would be so much easier. I mean, Amazon?
Yeah. Anywhere. So
I hear they're not that good to people.
Yeah. Well, that's the rumor on the street.
But then you're not that good to yourself. So how's that?
Yeah. So bang, coming in hot.
I mean, I just think I'm talking about myself too. Any self-employed person, or artist, self-employed artist is pretty hard on themselves in terms of how much work you expect yourself to do in order to do what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, and so, of course I've rebounded, the next day I had this lovely conversation with somebody I'd written a book with. She would like to write another book, and she was so excited to see me. I was so excited to see her. Nice. And we had a great conversation. And it's like, why would I even think to leave this work? Right. I mean, it's like that stuff is why you're here. But yeah. I instantly thought, has that ever happened to you?
Yes. Yes, it has. Okay, so I've been writing since I was 25. That was the year I entered a contest and won it. And I was like, what? There's this thing called writing you can do. And I got a book out of it. It was fun as hell. And now it's several years later.
Before we started recording, you were describing this pretty cool lifestyle that you had.
I had a good life. Oh, the nostalgia. So yeah, it wasn't perfect, but I did work in the international conference and trade show industry. And, I got some great gigs. I lived in Budapest in a hotel for a while. I lived in London in a hotel. Yes, it was a good life and I enjoyed it. And there I made quite a bit of money, so I could take time off between gigs, More than once I went to a hotel just to write a draft of a book, like just to do a revision of a book, even though I lived with my husband and we didn't have kids and he worked nights, so I could have done whatever I wanted. I was like, no, I gotta get out of this. I gotta get out of my office. So yeah, my salad days. And then and then then I got into editing when I was in my 40s because I went back to school to study writing and found out it was an actual job. And I had a gift. I actually had a gift for big picture feedback. And I trained myself in how to do copy, the different levels of editing and stuff. And then I loved the work. I love working with writers. I love reading a manuscript that I'm like the third person to read it in the world, and I can see how to help it move up. Sometimes one level, sometimes a bunch of levels, in terms of how good it is. And yet, oh yes, there are days. Yesterday, for example, I was telling you, I sat at this particular desk I'm in right now for 13 hours.
Yikes.
13 hours is a long time to sit. And yeah, I got up once in a while. So my actual work day stretched from 6:30 a.m. to probably about 8:30 p.m. So there was a point where I got up and I'm like 8 and walked around, but I didn't have time to work out or anything like that. And before 6:30, I had already done my shit like meditating and blah, blah, blah. So then after I turned in the one thing and I was working on something else, and by then it was around 6:30 p.m. and I was like, oh my God, fuck it. I mean, if I could have said fuck it yesterday and never come back, I would have. But then today, I woke up and I was like, exciting. I get to do some Gifted Underachievers stuff. I get to do some stuff with a course I'm about to start teaching again for developmental editing. And I get to read part of a book one of my clients wrote. It's a type of book she hasn't written before. So she writes nonfiction. This is fiction. I get to knock off when I'm done. I sound like such a sad sack. I get to leave when it's over. It's how I feel some days.
After 13 hours, to unlock the door.
I got up and
tiny little incredibly white space.
Shut up. Shut up. I need a vision board behind me so it's not so white on the wall.
Tell the listeners that Pat has gotten rid of all forms of art.
You're right. I did have a painting up there, didn't I?
Now I'm just seeing a list of F you.
Fuck you. That says BSC, Kofi, GU, and then a client name. Above it says, what are your non-negotiables in blue? And then I've got like a prison. You can't see the top corner. It's in orange. Just this side project I'm doing. I want to know how many hours it's taking me to do it. So I'm just doing hash marks every time I spend an hour on it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I want to know if it's worth it, right? I wanted to get my ROI. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, yesterday I got up from this chair and I walked like a chimpanzee out into
stick to the vinyl of the chair.
I was wearing pants. And by the way, it's cloth.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I walked out like a chimp. I could not properly stand up straight. And all that to say, yes, I have wanted to say fuck it and quit. And then I have other thoughts that circle me back. Well, sometimes I sleep and then my mind wakes up and it's like, what were you so fucked up about? Life is great. And then also, like last night I went to bed at 9. I was awake for half an hour after work and then I said, I'm going to bed because I don't want to be in my skin anymore. I'm done with this person. And all I wanted to do was sleep. And so I did. I had a good sleep. The problem with going to bed at 9 is I was up at 4:20, but because I don't need that much sleep. I usually go to bed around 11. So what am I? I'm just
your life sounds a little chaotic.
I've never heard that about my life. Is it though? Going to bed
well, you're marking off the moments that you're trapped in your office, unable to become fully erect. Bed at 9, up at 4:30.
It's the opposite of chaotic. That's like being in a monastery.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, that feels a little chaotic.
Well, I'll tell you what it is.
That's a me perceiving.
No, I think it's what it is to me is it's unsupervised.
Yeah, you don't have a supervisor.
I don't have anybody saying, get your shit together, eat a meal, I just operate on like a machine. So
You need an in-house life coach.
yeah, I need like a
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston style personal, sorry, not virtual, assistant slash cook slash grocery shopper. Actually, no, I don't. I need to get out there and
Yeah.
do my own groceries. I need to do
Well,
stuff in the world more.
yeah, but
But
you need the life coach there to open the door. Miss Dobie, Miss Dobie, it's time to leave the office. Then you're
yeah.
there in your feral state, right? No, no.
Like Gollum.
The glow of the computer shining on your face.
My fingers have actually changed into just long, like ET type fingers because I'm like just all I do is type. Yeah, no, that's okay. Shut up is number one. I resemble that. And also number two, that's when I'm on like a downward trajectory. That is when I'm hitting rock bottom and I'm like, I'm too tired to even go have a drink after work. I'm just like, I'm fucking
Oh,
done. This is awful. I hate it. But then the other things I think about at those points are I kind of I kind of mismanaged probably I don't know, 3 out of the first 5 decades of my life. I mismanaged things.
now are you starting age 10 to 40, or
I
is
can't
that
tell you.
are you going to birth? Are you
Still a
just saying,
mystery. I didn't
did you
know.
mismanage the baby life?
Oh, well, no. I mean, I don't blame you can't really say a baby manages anything.
Right.
I would say who knows? Because in that period, a lot of great things happened. I had some great times. I had some great jobs. I had 2 great kids,
Mhm.
so I couldn't have mismanaged it that badly. But what I'm talking about right now is if I had started this, instead of starting this career in my 40s, if I had started it in, say, my 20s or early 30s, when I get to the point where I want to say fuck it, I would still have options. Like I would
Right.
be able to go out and get a jobby job because I wouldn't be Methuselah.
Well, one thing I've noticed is that as you get older, you turn 30 and you're like, oh my God, it's too late for me to be a rock star.
Yeah,
So, I mean, who wants to see an old 30-year-old rock star? And then you hit 40, you're like, oh, it's too late for me to do this. Too late for me. No, 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 no.
you're right. It's never too late. Yeah.
Keith Richards and Mick Jagger have shown the world
Yes,
that
yes.
age is just a number.
And also, who cares, really? I mean, today is the youngest you'll ever be.
Right, right, right.
So if you want to do something, do it. But then I also think about the jobs, and I'm like, oh, I'd like to just work in a library, have an easy job, show people
Mhm.
books, right? And then I look at the people that work in libraries, and they're fucking miserable. They're not all
Yeah,
miserable, but many of them, maybe miserable is too strong a word. They are serving the public.
right.
And that just doesn't fly with me. I'm not good at that. I would be like, really? That's a problem for you? Maybe you should look it up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you'd be the first librarian. Well, maybe not the first, but one of the proud librarians going, God damn it, there's Google in the world.
Okay, that you know what? I'm all about looking stuff up. So not on Google, but so maybe that was a bad example. Like I have served the public. I worked in McDonald's.
Uh-huh.
I guess you could call the conference industry sort of a subsection of the public because it was very sort of client facing in that, but it was different.
Yeah, I had a hot dog cart in Philly.
How old are you?
18.
Holy shit, that's pretty
I had
entrepreneurial.
a guy died of a heart attack right in front of my cart after eating a hot dog.
Oh, sorry. Poor
Oh, that's
guy.
another story. We'll segue from that.
Okay. Okay, so let's go back to just wanted to say fuck it. At this point, I'm thinking, what else could I do that wouldn't be a bigger hassle, basically? But also, I know it's just a day or it's just a
Yeah.
week. It's not, it's always going to change. So, yes, although I have wanted to say fuck it, I almost never even leave the office after I say fuck it. I just go lie down on the floor, maybe, but it's not like I stop working. I think I need to
Yeah.
do more of that. When I have the fuck it, I need to just get the fuck out of my office and go do something else, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more healthy, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I think I agree with you that I'm not good at taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get into this mode where you have a few things go wrong in this work, right?
Hmm.
So, shit show of interview for with a client that is like you walk away from it just like yelling, fuck, 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 right? And then I sent an intemperate email
Oh.
regarding regarding an issue that is near and dear and all those kinds of things. And then the two things that bring me back always are one, there's somebody out there who pops up and I have a great experience.
Hmm.
And then two is thinking about the last jobby job that I had, I hated.
Yeah.
That was hard, right? Having to
Yeah.
be on somebody else's schedule, dealing with supervisors and people calling useless meetings to discuss useless things, and then
God, yeah.
complain that you're not getting your work done fast enough. I mean, all that bullshit that you have to deal with
Yeah.
in the world. And that immediately brings me back. And then there's also the fact that I really love what I do.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, there's even when you love what you do, there's going to be these days and weeks where you think I want to quit.
Yeah.
It's I guess maybe it's that thing where if you love it, set it free, and if it comes back, blah 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 blah.
I
And so
thought
you're
that
kind of doing it,
doesn't that
you
refer
know.
to hamsters?
That and hunting various objects.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like I was in that mode where I was letting it go. I was like, fuck, I hate this.
Yeah.
And I sort of in this weird intemperate way let it go, and then it came back
Yeah,
because
that's
yeah, I'm not
that's kind of, and so it's not just about being a service provider to creatives, which is most of what I do. And I do some writing, and I hardly ever say fuck it about writing because I guess because there's no expectation, there's no pressure. I don't
Mhm.
have any particular goals. So, which could be a problem. But anyway, it's really about the paid work that I do, which is very creative, but I'm thinking, so when we get to a point where we say, fuck it, there's two areas that are happening, maybe three. One is bad day, bad week, whatever, that's temporary, it'll change. One is the jobby jobs actually suck. I mean, there are probably good jobby jobs, but we don't know them. And I can't think of one person I know who absolutely loves their jobby job.
Right. And you
Not one.
can't get hired to just be rich.
Oh no, I mean, if that was a job,
Yeah. I'd be awesome at it.
JB, it's not a job.
Yeah. Well, I'd look at it as a job, right?
Unless you're the Kardashians, then I guess it's a job.
And it's kind of a job. But no, I'd be good at being rich because I wouldn't get bored easily. I'd be generous.
Ooh. Okay,
Yeah.
we're talking about real jobby jobs. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I think the third part is maybe, and this part I haven't explored, we haven't explored it together, is maybe there are things you can do when you get to a fuck it that
Mm,
can actually allow you to not revisit the fuck it quite as often. Because I'll tell you,
mm,
I have a fuck it moment at least twice a year where I go, boy, this is a stupid job I'm putting myself through. Like I just overload and then like it happens on the regular. Twice a year,
mhm.
I would say, I want to say fuck it. And that's been going on since I started this business 14 years ago. You would think I would have had some tools by now.
Well, maybe you do, but they're more, subconscious as opposed to,
Mm,
conscious, intentional things that you do. Like for me, I don't say, oh, I'm in this mode and now I need to do this. It's just these things happen that lead me back to where I am,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or get my head above water,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah. Yeah, I think when for me when I'm in a I want to say fuck it moment, what happens now is that I just know that it's going to change. I don't feel like I'm going to feel like this all the rest of my
mhm,
life about it. And I also think maybe there's something to be said for, how we were talking about how much, how many GU segments we've created, and then
mhm.
we see our own advice and go, oh, I completely forgot about that. Oops. Uh,
Yeah. What a
I
great
think,
idea.
yeah, some of
Or
the
somebody
stuff,
told us about.
yeah, I think some of the stuff that leads to those fuck it moments is quite preventable, you know? It's okay, yeah, there's all these exteriors. I think when it gets really bad, like your week wasn't just work stuff that was piling on. It was
Mhm.
elderly, your sandwich generation stuff, elderly
Yeah.
parent, you know, young adult who needed help and other stuff. There was other
Mhm.
stuff. So, and I think that's what leads to many a fuck it moment is as soon as the tensile pressure
Ooh.
changes in the exterior of life, it affects your ability to handle the normal pressure of your creative work, whatever that looks like. And so you are more likely to have a fuck it moment in those
Yeah.
periods.
It's a form of allostatic overload,
Hello.
right? Where you're used to sort of a normal ambient stress level, right? You're used to
Yes.
like the client that does the crazy thing
Yeah.
or the job pitch that doesn't go the right way. All these kinds of things we're just used to. But
Yeah.
then when there's just this piling on,
Yeah.
right? Like, why does God think I ate his apple? Kind of stuff.
That's a new one.
Yeah. And
Okay.
and then so maybe there's a very conscious thing that needs to happen where you need to just like take a breath and have a way of working through it.
Yeah. That's possible. So here's what I'm thinking now. I think for me, what happens is, as you know, I had a lot of exterior stuff going on with my mom's sort of banking situation that required a
Right.
lot of time and energy. And then I had another thing happen that affected me with one of my kids. And
Mhm.
so that on top of grinding it out for a few weeks, like not having a weekend off for a while, because this is a busy time of year, I get it, uh,
Mhm.
led to my fuck it moment. Because so I think what I haven't built in, what I haven't understood properly is that externalities are always going to go sideways. And so my whole work, you know, rhythm is predicated on everything staying stable outside of work so that I can be, you know, like a conductor in work, putting all the different pieces into flow and everything's going on. But that only works when stuff outside of work is stable and I don't have to spend work hours doing other stuff and
Mhm.
or you know thinking about other stuff really so like
Mhm.
it's not intrusive, you know. And so I think I just need to accept a reality that every week needs to have some buffer time. Like I can't
Yeah.
necessarily get as far ahead on other projects as I want to. I need to slow, you know, like sort of narrow my field of focus a little bit more than I do. And but I always say that to myself and then I just don't do it. So
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. Well, we definitely go through these cycles and you could probably go through our segments and find, these cyclical moments,
Yeah.
right?
Bitch fests.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's like you reach a state of, equanimity with the world, right?
Yes.
And you're doing all the right stuff at the right times in the right ways, and you feel like you're kind of nailing it.
Yeah.
Or not even nailing it, like you've got it under control,
Yeah.
right? And then there's a slip, right?
Yeah.
And then one of the plates topples, da, 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 and it starts that sort of negative feedback loop, and then you get to the fuck it, why am I doing this? And then you have to refine the equanimity.
True. Okay, and I have another idea. What if there's a bigger picture thing going on as well, which is so I'm planning this 1 month DIY writing retreat
Mhm.
for next year. I've gotten zero so far because I spent like 15 minutes on it. But what if there is enough of sort of a vision for your own downtime, not just doing the groceries and whatnot, but actually having built-in little pockets, maybe 3, 4 days here, 10 days there. 10
Mhm.
days is a bit, you know, ambitious, but little pockets already built in where you know that you can be more available for your personal life so
Mhm.
that it's got less likelihood of becoming like this major cyclone of neediness from the world.
So, yeah, so pockets where you're focused more on the outside life.
Yeah.
So I can see that me calling up Elliot and being like, "What do you need? I'm here. I'm coming down.
She's like, fuck off, Dad.
Yeah, fuck you, Dad. Go away. Go to my son, Quincy. I'm here.
I've got a
I'm
window for you.
available.
Window of opportunity. Have a problem now because I'm
This
right
is your
here.
moment. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Find something, you know.
Get it out.
So I mean a vacation.
You're saying that that is the stupidest idea you've ever heard. I think I'm hearing the subtext. Yeah,
Well,
you're right. It's
it's
a dumb
not,
idea.
no,
It
it's
can't
not
be
dumb.
done.
It's like, yes. And I think we forget to do these. Like it's all this self-care. And we've talked about a lot of self-care stuff, right? And there's things that we do every day because it's part of the routine,
Yeah.
right? We had a episode you were talking about like Twyla Tharp, I think, and she gets up and goes and gets a taxi, and that
Mhm.
sends her on her way. But there's maybe these things that need to happen on more of a periodic kind of basis, not that daily routine or weekly routine.
I think you're
And
right.
you got to figure that piece out.
Okay, so I worked on a book once. It's called The Millionaire Contractor, I think. And it was advice from this man who had started an electrical business in LA when he was younger and ended up with like 35 employees and
Mhm.
owned a building and stuff and lots of vans and, radio ads, all that stuff. And so he wrote this book kind of after he'd become a consultant. So he mostly let go of the day-to-day running of the business. And what he said in one of the chapters, he was just talking about how you manage your personal life when you've got this really big thing that you have to be there for, that you can't just drop because it's your whole family's source of income.
Mhm.
And I think he said I'm going to say every 6 weeks, he and his wife went away for 4 days to this cottage or something, and he just regrouped. And then he could do another 6 weeks at the pace he was doing in the
Mhm.
business. And
Mhm.
and his wife also managed. She did a lot. I think she did the books initially, and then for the business, and then she also managed all the kid stuff, and the house stuff and the cooking and all that stuff. And she was a physicist or something. I mean, she had her own
Wow.
work going on, but it wasn't as intense as owning a small business in LA. That's, that tells you what about the jobby jobs, right? Anyway,
Yes.
so he said that, he kind of realized that had to happen because he was like talking to his wife and he's like, I think of me like a thoroughbred, right? I can run, I can run really fast for 6 weeks, but then to, you know, I need to reset and then I can do another like sprint or whatever. But, and I just think, wouldn't that be a good idea? That would be worth trying.
Yeah, I would phrase it for me personally a little differently, where I have to go through the broken down mule phase,
Well, the idea
where
is
I'm
to not
just,
break down.
I'm just staring in the middle distance. There's
Oh, I
nothing
see.
going
Perfect. I love it. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's still out in his field,
You need to go
right?
out to pasture, right?
Well, no, I'm already, I'm in the pasture. It's just, there's broken down mule James staring off into the middle distance,
I,
you know.
yeah. Okay, but is that when you're at work or is that when you're taking your breaks?
That's the break.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Okay, yes.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, I'm a more active mule. I got the plow, I'm in the harness.
Yep.
You
Okay. This
yeah.
metaphor is going completely sideways. It's a
It's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I'm out there plowing the field, making the furrows,
and then you get to go stare into space.
and then I just stop staring
Every
at, middle
every
distance.
yeah.
Yeah. Broken
every
down.
every few whatevers. You know what?
Every
And see, this is one of those things where I feel like we're having a good idea and we're gonna, it's just gonna go into oblivion. Maybe I need a vision board, but I think
Mhm.
I'm gonna say every 3 months, I need to get the fuck away for 5 days. I'm
Yeah.
saying it right now.
All right. Vision boards. Vision boards. Writing that down. We should each do a vision board and post a photo or photos
Oh
of
God.
our vision boards.
Okay, like a vision board for each break.
Well, for each of us, what is the break vision board?
Oh, I see. So more than one break can be on the vision board.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like the
Mm-mm.
whole thing is captured in one vision board.
Okay, capture the whole. I'm not posting my fucking vision board. That's insane. That would be a violation of my privacy.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to give addresses and,
I'm not talking about that.
GPS
I'm not talking about that.
coordinates.
Talking about what I like doing is very private.
Oh, wow. All right. Ed and I are going to go offline.
No, I don't mean in that way. I mean that it's personal. It's personal.
Okay. Well, let's vision board this thing.
I'm caught, I'm tempted. I have a really hard time telling people what I like doing. I don't actually. Everybody knows I really love trains. I'm ridiculous. I don't have what am I talking about?
You love trains, cold swimming.
Yeah, swimming, period. I love swimming. Yeah, there's so many. Oh my God, I could do a vision board right now. I don't know what I was on about there. We'll have to cut that part about me being weird. Weirder than normal.
Well, no, I think it shows you working through the anxiety, right? The immediate anxiety of like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? People are gonna know that I want to go to the wharf in Vancouver and have some monkfish.
No, I want to go to the Ligurian Sea.
Ah, there we go. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Vision boards.
Okay.
All right. Well done. Another successful, probably, maybe. I don't know.
There's something. You know what? It was an idea. And I think what we arrived at was really nothing. It was quite personal, which is that as people who work in the same field day in, day out, I'm going to say probably about 350 days a year.
Yeah.
Maybe less. I forgot. I don't work every weekend, but so maybe
feels like
it feels like it. Yeah. Well, if you include the personal writing and stuff, yeah. Anyway, the whole point is to build in intentional broken down mule time. And see what happens.
Well, I think the first big takeaway is even when you're doing something that you really, really love, you're gonna have those days and weeks where it's just gonna be shitty.
It's gonna be hard. Yeah. You're gonna want to quit.
Yeah.
And I think, maybe what we have arrived at is that when you want to quit, maybe consider what's leading to that, how that unfolded, and also, obviously we all know it's just a phase. Usually by the time you get 10 years into anything, that there's going to be ups and downs, but also to remember to give yourself, I don't really like the term self-care. I don't know why.
No, I don't either.
It makes me think of massages and manicures and stuff. That isn't going to change anything, right? It's just you get a couple hours, but I mean, maybe that's better than nothing, but to think of something bigger that you can do for yourself so that you don't end up just feeling like you're a broken down old mule.
All right. We'll end it there.
Okay. Thanks for listening to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note anytime over on our Substack at giftedunderachievers.substack.com. Until soon.